It's okay. For the first time, people will forgive us. We're practicing.
Yes.
We're practicing. All right. We are here, all the hypnotists. I mean, all of us are hypnotists. This is what I was trying to say. And we are here gathered today to share tips to help you quit smoking. So if you are planning to quit smoking, this is the best time, and we'll try our best to make it easy for you. Well, my name is Guzala Davis.
Hi, Annie Latta.
Reina Zarzuela.
And we are scattered through the United States and even in another country. So if you need help locally,
We got you covered.
I'm in Maryland, Annie in Mexico, and you're Reina, where are you?
In Indianapolis, Indiana. Indianapolis.
Yeah, we cover pretty big territory. All right. So I'm gonna go through the questions that smokers and people that call to book an appointment usually ask us. Among the first ones, does insurance cover smoking cessation? I'll say for everybody, no, never. Hypnosis is not covered by any insurance. Did you have to deal with this, ladies?
No, not yet, but I'm sure everyone's life insurance policy would be a lot easier and maybe less expensive.
That's true. That's true. There I had just a couple of cases. When there is a life-threatening situation. For example, I had a gentleman who was scheduled for heart surgery, but his medical insurance would not approve it unless he quits smoking. And in that case, he was covered. And there was one case, it was similar situation, and he got, I think, half of price of my fee reimbursed. Obviously, because we do not deal with insurance, we don't have credentials for it. The only thing we can do in our part is to provide all the documentation, the official formal receipt. And then the client would submit it to his insurance. So in that case, you will need from your doctor, from your treating doctor, a letter of medical necessity. This is the official name for it, a letter of medical necessity. Again, we do not deal with it. It's not in our power. The only thing we can do is to provide proper official receipt, and then you submit it. I've heard from other hypnotists, this is actually very, very difficult to approve. But as Annie mentioned, your life insurance and actually medical insurance, the rate will drop drastically once you quit. Well, let's not forget about all other benefits. I'm sorry.
I wonder if those incentive programs that I've never looked into, but those incentive programs that some companies have, like for wellness, like if you accumulate certain points for wellness, they'll compensate you. But I've never checked on that being also, and then it would be rare and far and few. So still the person will probably have to pay and then get compensated if they have that in their company. Some wellness program. I don't know. I was just curious.
Yeah, I've never had to deal with it either.
Well, there is another loophole I just thought of too, because some government jobs, they have this program where you can take out some of your income and put it in this.
That's right.
Yeah, and then you're not taxed on it. And if you use the money in that account for wellness during that year, then it's going to look you know, like you made a little bit less money, therefore you have to pay less taxes. So that's a little bit of a loophole that's an option.
Yeah, so who would person need to be consulted with? With CPA? Yes, yes. I'm not sure.
Well,
Oh.
probably their human resources department in their job.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, that's a good advice. The next one. Is there a guarantee? Do you give a guarantee? Will literally people say, will you make me quit smoking? Let's clear the fog here. We cannot force you to do anything. We can help you, we can make it easier, we can provide support that you need, we can teach you techniques, tools, but you are still the one that has to quit. Yeah, so guarantees, ladies, do you give guarantees?
No, no. I mean, no guarantee. The guarantee is that the person is invested. You know, for them to come in invested on wanting to have this behavior change. But
Do people ask you any for guarantee?
Yes, and I usually ask them, well, who is it, you that wants to quit smoking, or is it someone else that wants you to do it? Because I can guarantee you, if you're doing it for someone else, then it's not for you. But if you want to quit, then I'm going to do everything in my power to help you. And it's worked for all my clients. So that's what I can tell you. But don't do it to appease someone else, because it's not your true desire, and that way it won't work at all.
Yes.
That's just my opinion.
I would think that giving a guarantee in this case would be actually a huge disservice.
Why?
Because if I can guarantee it, you don't have to put any effort. I've actually, well, I'm in contact with lots of hypnotherapists, and I actually, listen to all the stories. Different schools, teach different approach, and some insist, yes, lifetime guarantee, lifetime guarantee. Not going to mention any names, but this hypnotist said, well, I had a lady who came back 9 times, and doesn't look like she's planning to quit. She's just like getting.
She wants
just
the
likes
free
getting
services.
free services. Yes.
Right. Well, I remember you had mentioned before, Guzelia, like when you go in to see a dermatologist or anyone, not that we're doctors, but when you go to see other professionals, when you buy something for your skin, is this guaranteed to work for me? If they say guaranteed it or your money back, it already sounds kind of fishy anyways, because everyone's got their own case.
Yes, I'd like to say that I am selling you my time, my skills, my expertise, my support. But you're the ones that doing the work. You're the ones that quitting.
absolutely.
And you're the one that has to want to change and to change your life.
That's another thing that is, I think, very important part of success. Very often, and I know, ladies, you probably had your share of those calls. Very often, people will call and say, well, my husband wants me to quit smoking, or my wife made me call you. Or at work, they don't let us smoke anymore, so we have to quit. And that is a major red flag to me. How do you address this, lady?
If they say it's their doctor, then that's the only time I think if it's appropriate, because people really trust their doctor. And if their doctor says they have to quit, then that puts in like major, like okay, yeah, let's do this. But if it's their girlfriend or their wife, then it's not a great fit.
It leaves them open to relapse or not maybe follow through or take it as serious as if they were coming on their own and wanting it really bad.
Yeah.
Although a part of them could want to appease a family member, I still don't think it's the same as if you yourself are willing to say, okay, now.
Mhm.
Yes, well, I want to share example actually, real life example from my practice. A lady came, but she never well mentioned that it was her husband's initiative of her quitting smoking. She never mentioned that. I thought the session went just fabulous, and then maybe months later, she calls me. She said it's very difficult for me. I just want to smoke, just in spite, just to spite
Mhm.
my husband. Well, that's a different issue. I did have her coming back. I said we're going to reinforce smoking cessation. But really, it was something different. Turned out that she kind of gave away all her power. She was treated as a girl, as a child in the family. It's a whole another issue. And yes, when we addressed that, it wasn't that she now quit smoking for her husband. It was her own decision. She wanted to do it for herself, to stand up to her spouse. She had to learn.
Nice.
Yeah.
So she came out empowered and more confident as well.
Yes. Yes, she smoked, she said, even though when, well, I go through the series of standard questions when I'm booking a client. What do you like about smoking? And she said, I don't like anything. I don't like the taste. I hate the smell, that burning metallic flavor in the mouth. I hate everything. And then I feel really guilty and embarrassed and like I'm failing myself. But as it turned out later during second session, she smoked just to spite her husband. This was the only thing she made the choice about. She made the decision.
So maybe it was about power or something.
Yes, it was the
Right.
only tiny part of her life she could still control.
Mhm.
And when she realized that, it wasn't a problem at all. So when you want to quit smoking, do it for yourself. Doing it for others usually doesn't work.
Annie, do you get many of those clients? Do you get of the ones that are referred like by family members or the husband or somebody? Or not really? They're
Well,
voluntarily.
actually, my first client,
Mhm.
like my first client ever was, I didn't realize until afterwards that it was his wife that made him come. So 3 months later, I was devastated when I heard that he started smoking again. And it was a mutual, it was like a friend of a friend of a friend. And they're like, well, his wife, it was the only one, she was just always nagging him about it. And I'm like, you know, he lied to me that he wanted to quit when it was really just his wife. He's like, no, he's always going to concerts and, you know, he's a smoker. I'm like, so he went to the appointment for his wife and it kind of shook up my confidence a little bit, but then, you know, he wasn't doing it for him again, like what we're talking about.
I think it's interesting because the smokers, and we've talked about this before, the smokers that come in for hypnosis, again, it's because I also had a client, she was referred to me and by someone else and that really wanted her to stop smoking. And she's like, she called me and she said, I'm doing this because such and such. And then we finally, after 3 times trying to contact her, trying to get the appointments set, then we penciled in the time and we got it done. But it was really a part of her really avoidant. She was avoiding getting the appointment. And I was like, and so at a certain point I said, well, if I don't get a hold of her, I'm just going to leave it at that, because I was the one that was following through or pursuing her. And then I realized, I was like, okay, all these excuses on the phone on this. And then I goes, that part of her that really didn't want to stop, you know?
Yes. I would say with doing it for somebody, and again, from my practice, this is what I've seen. For women, for men, I don't think it works in any case. We're different creatures, but for women, do it for your children, then it works. Because, women, mothers always put kids above. Or do it for your grandchildren so you stay alive for them. And one time also, it was a lady who did for her mother who already passed away. I promised her I needed to do it.
Oh.
And it worked. It was a powerful motivation for her. But again, with regular cases, your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend wants you to do it. Your mom demands.
Yeah, I've had a
not
couple
helpful.
mothers come in and they feel really guilty about kissing their kids, and their daughter goes, "Mommy, you're breasting." So in that example of doing it for their kids, it's work, but it's like in addition, because they internalize that guilt so much that their kids are like rejecting their kisses because of how they smell. So then it makes them want it too.
Yeah,
So
that's
bad.
important to clarify your motivation. So,
Mhm.
ladies, from your cases, what worked? When you knew I can work with this, when they say what for, we send you do probably too questionnaires, regular questions. What is your goal? Why do you want to smoke? What do you not like about smoking? What for do you want to smoke? So when you knew 100% you can work with it.
When they say I want to live a longer life and see my grandchildren, I want my quality of life back. I want to be able to walk and not, what's the word, like heave and huff.
Running out of breath.
Yeah.
And reduce that anxiety of, there's some people that get anxious, and you could see when they're ready to have that smoke, the agitation, the pacing, it's because it soothes them on some certain level in some cases, right? And you can see that pacing, that walking around, that agitation is just to show them how to bring that into calmness and self-regulate, right? The emotions that go with wanting that cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've had travelers too, because they get, trapped in the airport. You have to be there hours before your flight, and they would just
smoke.
they can't smoke, and they would just feel complete loss of power. And so they said, okay. And then they all get so amazed afterwards, like, I can't believe I've had this breath all along.
Yes, that's true. While people smoke, they do not feel that awful smell because it kind of numbs everything. Not just with the sense, but also with flavor. I think that's also why smokers don't have much appetite. And when they quit smoking, within what couple of days, they say, all of a sudden this tobacco smell becomes unbearable. But also on the other hand, food finally tastes like food. And everybody's surprised. Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's interesting that you said that about the smell, because I've heard two things. Either they smoke, but they can't themselves like the smell on their clothes after or something like that. But on the other hand, if they're beginning to stop smoking and they do smell the smoke or see other people smoking, then they want to go and smoke. So the smell can go two ways. It's like, I smoke, but I don't like the smell, or, oh, I smelled it and I want to go have a smoke.
Yes, that's true. Might
Mhm.
happen. May happen. So, how do you prepare your clients? What do they need to do before coming in? Because that's part of the success, really. Strategy and preparation. What do you do, ladies?
I always tell them to mark it on their calendar, the day of our appointment, and circle it because it's going to become their future anniversary. So I'm like, okay, then you're going to know every year, this was the day I quit. This was the day I made one of my best decisions, and you go out and get a treat for yourself. So that way they're a little bit excited and not as nervous about it.
Yeah, it's true. Kind of tells our subconscious mind. The date is coming. I've decided on it. Decided. What do you do right now with your client?
Well, sometimes I do that. I always like to do, how many cigarettes do you smoke a day? How much money do you spend on cigarettes? How much time do you spend smoking? Like those three to me are really telling, because sometimes people have not stopped to actually, pay attention to the amount of money or the amount of time or the amount of cigarettes they smoke. It's so habitual that they may not necessarily pay attention to that. So
That's
I
a
like,
good point.
uh-huh.
With the time, because I have them added up too for, what they could have a car payment for with all their cigarettes, but the time, that's a really big point too.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
yes, yes.
you think in the morning, whatever, or in the afternoon, whatever time slots that they smoked for that amount of time, it adds up where you can be investing into something else, I guess,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, I tend to plan everything around smoking. I've had employees who smoked. They'd rather go outside smoke than have a coffee break.
And it's like a routine, right? Where
Yes,
they actually
yes. And
smoke
then
before- uh-huh.
there were times when we had kind of transition between shifts, morning and evening, and there were times that the girls had to stay alone in the store that I had. And if that's common, you could see anxiety and fear in eyes because they know they cannot leave the store now for a certain amount of time. They cannot go have a smoke. That's enslaving.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
your life depends so much on it. Yeah, something that time we don't always take in consideration, but it's a huge chunk. I do sometimes have, not every client, but when they say, why is it so much for smoking cessation? Well, but you spend just as much for whole month, because very often people think about present moment and it's it. They don't think 10 steps ahead or 10 back. But if you put all this money together, so I have those people doing math in a day, how much you spend in a month, and then multiply that how many years did you smoke? You could buy probably a house or at least a car. And if you continue to smoke, which becoming increasingly more expensive every year, isn't it? That's one of the most common motivators right now, because taxes increases on tobacco and price grows, and people call say, I just cannot afford to smoke anymore. And that's the same with tobacco chewers. They say the price increased like 4 times. I cannot afford it anymore. So put all this money, calculate how much you spend, and how much would you spend more. And maybe you can make a sensible choice where and how this money can serve you better than spending it on cigarettes.
And you add the dentist. What about the dentist?
Oh,
So you
absolutely.
gotta add that too. I mean, if people want their little teeth to be white rather than so yellow and full of tar, constantly have to be taking care of your mouth when you're a
Absolutely.
smoker. So that's another expense there. And the
Yeah.
toothpaste. I mean, if somebody is about caring, you know, of their physique or it also takes a toll on the mouth.
It's true. True. That's one of the things I embed usually for women. It doesn't affect men that much. I don't think they care that much about it, but women do. So I use that. Their appearance, you know, if you continue to smoke, face will age much faster. Teeth don't look that attractive when they're yellow.
And the skin begins for smokers. Have you
Yeah.
noticed that smokers, their skin tends to dry up, especially around the mouth. It's like little veins and it looks like grapes.
More leathery.
Do you
Yeah.
think that just it dries you up, the smoking? And like why do I see that in smokers with the dry skin and the more the mouth is more dry and consumed? I don't know.
'Cause there's poison in the cigarettes. I mean, there's million, you know, we spend so much money on putting stuff on our face, but we have to remember it's what we put in that creates a you know,
It's
good
true.
complexion or bad complexion.
It's true.
Well,
Yeah, with all the poison, but also we have to remember that tobacco depletes our body of nutrients. What builds the collagen on the skin, vitamin C, but they're depleted of it because doesn't matter how many vitamins they take or how well they eat, every time they smoke, everything comes out. You lose that, the collagen doesn't build well, and the skin is not as supple. So I would suggest if you want to quit smoke, if you want to quit anything, find the right motivator. Why do you need to quit smoking? Yeah, live longer,
better appearance.
better appearance. If you're single, that's important. Save
More
money.
confidence.
Oh yeah, yeah.
More confidence, because I mean, my clients, they feel so proud of themselves afterwards when
If
when I
you can
talk to
do,
them, and
yeah,
they're like, I can't believe I even used to smoke. Like they're just
yeah. If you
they're
can do
eh,
that, what else you are
mhm,
capable of?
mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Money not only for the cigarettes themselves, but also you're paying more for insurance all the time. You're wasting. Could be using for something else. So motivator is one of the important things you have to be clear about. For whom you're doing, for your children, grandchildren, to make your maybe parents proud, to help your mother not to worry about it every night she goes to sleep. People also, when they call, they worry about weight gain. because they lose appetite, they suppress appetite, and they eat less when they smoke. And when they quit, they start to get cravings. So what have you seen with that?
Well, I embed in my hypnosis that they're going to crave really nourishing foods and they're going to be excited to cook their foods because they get to kind of re-experience food again. They're going to have a lot more flavor and yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, they do get more cravings because body's detoxing needs to rebuild itself, but it can only rebuild itself from nourishments you eat.
Yeah. And there's
Better-
healthy fats if they're craving, those healthy fats for their lungs. And there's so many things they can have besides fried chicken. They can have grilled chicken, they can have avocados, they can have salmon, other fish.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes it's, I think, what is it, that the mouth, with the
Oh.
mouth, sometimes they have that gratification, that mouth gratification. And
Oral fixation.
oral fixation, that's
Yeah.
right. I know that people, I don't necessarily would recommend that, but some people do the gum chewing. I don't know if there's a mint, maybe that is less in calories and healthy, maybe a better
Mhm.
option. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. It's about about planning and strategizing. So you're quitting smoking, you stop poisoning yourself. It's normal for you to have cravings. It's normal for you to be hungry, hungrier than usual, which will eventually subside, but don't starve yourself. Be smart about it. Stock up on healthy food beforehand, before you quit smoking. And make sure that you remove the things that you're not supposed to be eating anyway,
Yeah, good point.
because if it's there, you'll eat it.
Do you
Mhm.
both embed that? Do you embed that? And by embedding
Absolutely.
to
Yeah,
the
it
public,
goes
I
into
mean,
hypnosis session.
uh-huh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Healthy food, heavier, more nutritious food. This is what you will be craving, and which is good for your body anyway. But as Raina mentioned about the oral fixation, if you need that something in your mouth, maybe a Ziploc with nuts or baby carrots, or as Raina said, mints, to have that little something to satisfy that craving may be helpful. So, what else people usually ask? So, often clients, when they call to book, they ask, so is it the same for everyone? Because I have couples calling. We'll be just doing appointment together. It's the same anyway. Well, I have to say on my part, no, it's not the same. It's customized because people quit smoke for different reasons. Smoking is a different thing for different people. For somebody, it's a security blanket. Someone smokes every time they get bored or get stressed. Someone smokes to socialize. So, yes, it's not the same for everybody. What do you say, ladies, about it?
Are you going, Annie?
I was waiting for you to go.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't have you on the screen, so I'm like going from
I'm trying to understand. Are you polite to each other, or are you making each other out?
I can't see her just when she talks, so I don't know if she's going to talk or not, so I don't want to be rude. Do you want to answer that one, Annie?
Oh, you can go. Oh, wait, what was the question again? What?
It's all right.
The
It's
diff-
all
the-
right. The, people wonder whether actual hypnosis session would be the same for everyone. And
No.
if not, why would you say not?
Well, I don't know exactly what my client is experiencing, so I regress them and I take them to a place in hypnosis, but in my practice, I don't have them, or I don't tell them to verbalize what they're seeing or what they're experiencing. So everyone's session is different because their mind, their subconscious is going to take them to a different place that no one will ever know.
But also techniques. That's
Yeah.
what techniques would be different
Oh,
for everyone. Everyone has different needs.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think also when you're getting like the intake form and you're getting information, you can extrapolate some information that can benefit you while you're in hypnosis. So like Annie said, go through the hypnosis and the technique, but also gathering information prior to the hypnosis session itself can be beneficial if you gather some information that can help you or ask the hypnotist while they're in trance. So all the information is just an added bonus for us when we're having the clients, right? So the more information we have, the more resources to work with.
Right. Right. Another one. Every call, literally. I would prefer to see you in person. I don't think Zoom just as effective as it would be in person in the office. Every person that calls asks that. What would you say? In person in the office versus online session.
I think that online session, actually after COVID and going online and using the online platform has opened up so many doors because you have your privacy of your own place, your home, you feel safe. It's wonderful. It works. We've been doing it for a while. It works. Yes. And I see more people in my case, they get a little more nervous, especially if they don't know you and they come to the office where there's a level of relaxation between the screen, you and I and the screen, right? That's been my case, right?
Would you say Annie?
Well, another point with, like Raina said, how people feel more safe online. I tell my clients who are online, you can wear your pajamas, it's okay. You get to be completely comfortable, and versus in the office where, yeah, you have to get over that hurdle of, has she sanitized the chair, or, these
Yes.
these neurotic thoughts that people probably are thinking inside. And we all do it. We all have our own little kind of habits, but at the end of the day in hypnosis, you're giving me complete trust and surrender with your eyes closed to feel safe. So I would say the number one place you're going to feel safe and know that you're going to have control is going to be in your house. So
that's right. I agree. Yes, there are two parts of it. Convenience, absolutely, that's unquestionable. You don't have to drive, you save time, gas, you don't need to dress up. But also that comfort level that you get at home, you will not get anywhere else. And that is very important for you to be comfortable with a hypnotist, for you to be able to relax, because on that, success of hypnosis depends largely.
And one thing that I'd like to add to that is that they'll also be safe, because sometimes I've asked, well, what happens if we get disconnected, for instance, right? And usually I will embed some kind of, if it goes quiet or if something happens within the screen or something, you will get back and you'll be fresh and actively, and we can reconnect and then take them down deeper to where they were. That's one. And then the other thing is, yeah, they're just safe, that nothing's going to happen if you're on the screen by yourself on the other side. You're also instructed how to sit to have the most benefit of the session. You know?
That's true. That's, I have to say that working both in person and online, it's actually takes me extra effort and extra time, overcomes that barrier when people walk into the office. Also, I feel that I'm very friendly and nice. But here, you walking into person's office for the first time, they're a hypnotist. Well, also maybe my Russian accent adds to it too. I can see through the instant shield, like they trying to adjust to me. They're still not feeling completely safe. So it takes me extra effort, extra time to overcome this barrier and help them to actually feel more comfortable and relax.
Mhm.
Versus to when we work online, there is no such a thing. Especially if a person been hypnotized for the first time ever, they're not really know how that works. And they've seen all these movies where people that been hypnotized lose complete control and don't remember things. So there is always a question: will I give away all my secrets? Will I give away my social security number or my bank account? Or will I be exposed in some way? And we've heard those stories too, when clients being inappropriately touched, violated by a hypnotist. Here you're safe behind the screen. Yeah, I would have to say, stay home, stay safe. Stay safe from us.
Okay, I like the value of the humor.
Yes, and
What-
obviously another plus when we do an online session, automatically everything's recorded. You have a recording of entire session, which
Right.
one part hypnosis you can reuse as many times as you need for reinforcement, and another you can review the whole session, the tips, the practices, the exercises we went through. You don't need to try to remember or write them down. It's all there recorded.
I wanted to ask Annie something that did you finish that? Because I don't want to interrupt you. I was gonna Annie, what in the, I know you like doing the smoking cessation programs with hypnosis. Just curious, what about those sessions is that that you like? What taking clients through hypnosis for smoking? What makes you feel good? Because I heard you before say, oh, I like taking people through the process.
Well, I mean, first off, I like because I only have to see them once. Not that I don't like humans, but I only see them in one session. And then I feel like I always get thanked by them. Like they'll send me like emails, and it's just nice because other clients that I've had, like for stress or other things, sometimes they just drop off and I don't hear from them. But the smokers, I feel like I'm one of their little heroes. So it just makes me feel good about myself. Like, and then
That
they're
sounds
off
really
with their
nice,
lives.
hero. Yeah.
That's fun. Yeah. It's true. And you actually, I mean, if you think about it, you are giving people back their life in a sense. You know, obviously, they're the ones that take the lead, but you're guiding them and you're supporting them in that transition. So that's invaluable to have that support. You know?
Yes, and
Yeah.
we have to remember that smoking is not just about smoking. You're not just giving up habit. Your entire life will change. Every area of your life will benefit from that freedom. Every area, turning your life around like 180 degrees.
Right. And a lot of the smokers, they're on like the other side of the spectrum than the people that come for, spiritual development. They don't have that even like quality that they want to develop of spirituality. So I don't put any spirituality into the sessions, just the consciousness practices and the breath practices. And I feel like that kind of demystifies, stuff around the mindfulness movement for the smokers, for them to feel like they're not missing out on anything, because now they have all of these tools that they thought were woo woo before, but they've just it actually just become more embodied. So then all of their preferences start to change.
So you incorporate breathing for your clients? Do you give them like breathing exercises at all?
Yes. And that's usually their favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I even made up one. I put it on YouTube. This one was just for fun. I thought of it because I used to do alternate nostril breathing when I did yoga teacher training. So you inhale through the one nostril, you block off one, and then you get a blowout like you used to smoke a cigarette. And you just get,
But that's great, Annie. That is a great.
and that's their like breath cigarette.
This is so smart because you withdraw, you focus on
Mhm.
whatever's going on with your body. You create this little escape from life for a moment. That's nice. Very smart.
I do like that. Mhm.
Nice. When I ask smokers what they like about smoking, why do you need it? Almost every smoker says, I like that. Me time.
Yeah.
Now try without the cigarette. It's the same
Yeah.
thing exactly.
Alternate nostril breathing. It does relax you when that.
It works just as well,
Yeah.
even better. Yeah, so that would be another tip for you. Breathe. Create an escape from hectic life. Stop for a moment, focus on what's happening in the body, and take a deep breath, whether through the left or right nostril. You make your choice, or both at
Actually,
the
they
same
can
time if you like to play risky.
they can check her video out. Whoever's a smoker can check that video out too. It's on YouTube, the video.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Luis and Annie has a video of
The
that practice on her
alternate
channel.
nostril breathing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's nice. That's nice. It does balances. Who doesn't know yoga? It does balances both hemispheres and energies of masculine and feminine. Helps you to ground a bit and feel more in control. That's a very nice practice. So you said one session. Reina, how many sessions do you do for smoking cessation?
I go probably two, because sometimes I'll do the for some people that are very tense and very anxious, which I've had before, I will do one of like guided meditation, one it could be on the computer online, and then in person I've done then the actual smoking cessation program. But I've had people where I have to do like the guided meditation first to teach them how to relax. And then well, we can do it also online. But when we do the program or the hypnotic trance, then they're more calm. So
That's very smart. You're teaching them.
Mm-hmm.
You're conditioning them for hypnosis. They're practicing it before doing the actual session.
Some people
Very
have
smart.
no idea.
It's true. It's
And
true.
so we get a little tensed up and what's going to happen. It depends, right? I feel them out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So for people who don't know, most of smokers don't know how it's usually done. There are just as many hypnotists, so there are that many ways to do smoking cessation, and the amount of sessions too varies from hypnotist to hypnotist. In my school, they taught us to do at least 4 sessions. This is how I started years ago. It was 4 sessions scheduled week apart. I know hypnotists who does 6 sessions, and I know even couples that does 8 sessions.
Oh my goodness.
Okay,
I was taught 3 minimum.
3 minimum.
Mhm.
We can argue for both sides. We can say the more the better, because there are, in so many ways you will benefit from hypnosis session. But I mean, in our economy, in this situation, we have to be very mindful about our resources. And when I see my clients, when I start doing 4 sessions smoking cessation, and they come in back after first appointment and say, I quit. How can I go to bed with clear consciousness? And when saying them come back for more and pay me more, I gradually decreased, and this is what I've been doing for a long time now, 1 session, and it works great. What I say to my clients, we will start, this is what we're going to do, 1 session. If you need more, if you feel that you need more, you can always come back to me. I had 2 people in whom I practice coming back for more. But even then, and I address that from very beginning, if you feel that you need more, don't feel that you're failed. It's not a failure. You just need a little more help, and that is totally fine. Absolutely fine.
Well, and what you said, and really in the traditional schools and everything, and the way we're taught, it is more, well, they include more extensive. But if we can do it in 1 session, and the person still needs that they feel that they need some support a little behind it, they're still winning because they're getting all the benefits here pretty much in 1 session.
True.
So
True.
that's
Yeah.
very good.
Okay, that's the next question. Not often, not often, but quite a few people asked, will it hurt? Will it feel weird, uncomfortable, scary? Is it difficult to be hypnotized? Ladies, does it hurt to be hypnotized? Put your hand on your heart and tell me the truth. Will it hurt?
Absolutely not. No.
No.
Very relaxing, I think.
Yes, it's very pleasant and comfortable
Mhm.
experience. It will not hurt. Well, it might feel uncomfortable afterwards, but not because of hypnosis, but due to withdrawal symptoms. This is something that you need to be aware of and be ready to deal with. With many, we can use hypnosis for that, but some things you just have to be ready to deal with it. If you tried to quit previously, and so many did many times, you already know all those withdrawal symptoms. But if it's your first time around, you need to know anxiety is normal, which we can help with. Headaches are also normal because your body is detoxing rapidly now. Your body starts to detox within few hours of last cigarette. If you didn't repoison yourself every couple of hours, it would be great, but unfortunately, you keep smoking and smoking. So once you quit, migraines, dizziness, nausea, sweating, excess mucus is normal. somewhat even like cold symptoms is
Mhm.
normal because your body's detoxing. Some even people complained about constipation. So make sure you eat your green salad. So at least in that department would be everything taken care of. What else? Insomnia too can happen, but we can address that with hypnosis. So usually we embed all those things that are anticipated with withdrawals: stress, anxiety, insomnia, unmanageable appetite.
Increased sensitivity,
Oh,
Mhm.
yes,
smells.
yes.
Yeah, I tell them to clean out their car if they smoked in there before because it could disturb them and that could be unsafe, after they drive, smelling that
Oh,
old smoke
yes,
in there.
yes,
Toxins. Mhm.
yes. So, yeah, whoever's listening right now, that's probably where you should start. Clean everything out because the smell will be unbearable. Yeah. Um, what else can we address?
No, that
So,
reminds me, this reminds me, and this is random off the side, but somebody had said, I think the mom passed away and they had left the house to one of the kids and the mother was a smoker. And when they went in to clean the house, the walls were all brown and yellow from all the smoking that had collected inside the house. Can you imagine if that's the house? Imagine how the lungs get. But that
Oh,
the walls of the house were all yellow and everything when they started to clean. And they really hadn't paid attention. Their mom's a smoker or whatever until they really started paying attention. Can you imagine the accumulation of
in
the
her
soot
body.
cigarette on the walls and the furniture?
I was just speaking about it with someone.
Mhm.
And this gentleman told me that if you're buying a house after smoker, prepare to rip out all the drywall. Repainting is not enough. That those oils that come out with the smoke, they eat into the walls. Be prepared to rip out all the drywall, scrape the ceiling and everything.
So can you imagine you're buying a house?
Imagine what it does to the body.
Mhm.
So, ladies, maybe we should wrap up now. Let's share share a few tips. Take turn, share a few tips, and we'll be done. Who wants to start?
Well, the only thing I could say, and I'm a little dramatic in my style, it's a little more brash, maybe being from the East Coast, but I would tell the person that's the smoker there, right? You fast forward into the future and you smoked all your life. You're laying in the bed in the hospital. You're intubated with all these things. And you have emphysema because you smoked all your life and all your grandchildren and all your family are around there. And they're saying, if you press that red button right next to the bed, everything from the moment that is going on here, you go back in time, will erase it all once you had stopped smoking. Would you press that button now? And so I will do that to my clients.
Wow.
Like, would you press that button now? If you were to imagine seeing yourself in the future in that bed, all your family, everybody looking at you, have emphysema, you can't breathe, you're intubated. How would that feel? How would that look? How would that sound? And they're giving you the option now to press the red button. So it's a little drastic, but
I heard. Hold on.
That's
I
a good
heard
speech.
something. I heard something. This is the sound of dropping cigarettes. Someone just quit. At least one person just quit. Thank you, Ray.
I'm a little drastic, I know, but it's like, hey, what would you do?
Right. Yeah, because people say, well, I'm gonna die anyways. And I go, how many people do you know that just drop dead? Most people get sick and then their family has to take care of them. So think about everyone else that's affected by your smoking. You're doing it to your body. It's your body, of course, your body, your choice. I get it. But your decisions have an impact on everyone else's life around you once you get older.
It's true.
Absolutely.
It's true. Well, I guess my turn to share a tip.
We're all so dramatic. Like,
Well, I want to say that we are all so very different, and regardless to which hypnotist you're going to call, they don't really know you. They don't know what kind of person you are. They don't know what you respond to better, but you know yourself. At least figure out how you want to do it. Call Turkey, then just book this appointment and go. Or you need a bit more time. If you need gentler, more gradual, more comforting approach, then Azani in the beginning said, mark your calendar and work towards it. Give yourself time and start decreasing the amount of smoking gradually in whatever way is workable for you. Make a game out of it. It doesn't have to be drastic, scary, unmanageable. It can be gentle and easy and very gradual. If you smoke a pack of cigarettes, what is it, 20 cigarettes in a pack usually? Maybe today you can do only 19. Doesn't have to be written in stone. You can just give yourself a chance to smoke less. If you absolutely need more, you can. Nobody is holding a gun to your head. But if you can do less, great, then praise yourself. And maybe next day you can smoke even a little less. Maybe you just don't have to finish each cigarette. Maybe you can get that satisfaction even with a half a cigarette. You're saving half of money. Continue that half later. Even if you can make one less puff from each cigarette, it's already a progress. So gradually, make it less, and then maybe at some point you can finally make an appointment, or maybe you can do it all on your own. Whichever way you
We also
decide.
offer, Rosalia, we also offer the packages of the accelerated or the packages online if you want to begin and try it on your own. There's also those
Oh,
bundles
that's true.
available.
We didn't even
Remember?
mention that.
Yeah.
You,
Mhm.
if you need, if you'd rather have more control over your progress, you can just buy support program, which not involve, another human being. You don't have to book an appointment. There are so many pre-recorded options.
right.
Of course, they will be generalized. But if you like to have more control, if you want to decide completely how you're doing it, gradually call Turkey, whatever, then you have this support via recorded program, usually include relaxation, something for sleep, something for confidence, and the smoking cessation itself. And that's usually much more affordable too. And then
Stress relief.
yeah, and then you're
Yeah.
really not limited. You can repeat it as many times as you want to.
True.
Do it on your own time at your own speed. as one of my teachers said, well, not in relation to smoking, to something else, but we all can succeed at our own time. So we
Nice.
wish you to succeed at your own time, at your own speed.
It's never too late.
Absolutely. It begins with you taking that first step and saying yes. Like Tony Robbins says, yes, say yes.
Say yes, and then also say no.
I like it.
Well, every time you say no to something, maybe this is a yes to yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
Mm.
thank you for being with us. Ladies, thank you. It was pleasure. It was fun.
Thank you.
All right. So I'll put all of our websites in the description box below, where we all offer smoking cessation and other hypnosis.
Did you turn off? You're still live. Looks like.
No. Bye-bye.
I thought you were on.
Time stop now.
Wait, hold on.
We're still live.
Well,
Where's-
we're hypnotists, not computer techs. Hold on.
We still
I love
couldn't
it.
get out. Now we can't get out.
Laughing is good for the soul. Laughing is good for the soul.
Wait, I really don't know how to turn it off. Oh no.
Don't lose it.
Gonna have a sleepover soon.
Well, let's end the meeting. Then maybe we can
Okay.
come
Okay.
back to chat